Why did I write about Joseph Needham? Well, I think essentially because he was one of the most fascinating men that ever lived, really. I mean, an extraordinarily polymathic human being, born the turn of the last century, 1900, son of a doctor in London, went up to Cambridge in 1918 at the close of the Great War and studied chemistry, then later turning to biochemistry, and became a brilliant biochemist. But he was a number of other things as well. He was a chain smoker, he was a great singer, and he was an inveterate womanizer. He loved women. Well, he married a woman called Dorothy, also a biochemist, and they settled down for what one might have thought was a sort of blameless, left-wing Cambridge intellectual life. But everything changed in 1937 when from Nanjing in eastern China came a young and rather beautiful Chinese woman student called Lu Guizhen, studying under Dorothy Needham. Well, Joseph, womanizer that he was, fell in love with her and started an affair which essentially lasted the rest of their life. The interesting thing about Guizhen was not just the erotic and romantic side of the story, but the fact that she taught him Chinese. And in teaching him Chinese, first of all the written language and then the spoken language, so a door opened on an immensely complicated and utterly alien civilization. And he became utterly fascinated by it. Well, so fascinated and so competent in the language that in 1942, at the height of the war between the Japanese and the Chinese, the British government sent Needham to China. And he spent years traveling in incredibly difficult circumstances all over China, collecting information, helping universities, basically amassing knowledge about the country. When he came back at the end of the war in the late 1940s with one thing on his mind, to try and work out what is the answer to what's since been known as the Needham question. Why, if the Chinese had invented so much so early, the stirrup, gunpowder, an amazing collection of things, were they so poor? What went wrong in China? And to do this, he began writing a book. Well, by the time he died in 1995, the book was 24 volumes long. I mean, millions upon millions of words. The greatest book about China ever written in the English language. And for those of us that are fascinated by China today, and who isn't, this book, Joseph Needham's extraordinary book, tells us, in essence, the most important of all answers. What is it that makes China, China?